later. So the question would be now, what will be our MVP? And the MVP discussion is one that can be very big and very long. So how do you approach it? And something that I have learned which really blew my mind away was, what you can do is you can just copy this story map here and create multiple versions. But what we're going to do first is, we first of all decide what will be the minimum viable product or the minimum actable feature that we're going to build. So since we are having this functionality already, I'm going to remove the existing functions. And we could ask ourselves now, okay, if we just want to make that feature simply work, we don't need the ability to import credit card data or to scan it. That's a nice to have. But we could go very, very basic and say, okay, the only thing we want to get started is the ability to add it manually. And everything else is kind of required, so we cannot scope out anything else apart from the fact that we start a transaction without, for example, pressing 2 times the on-off button. That could be also something we leave out. We could say, okay, we just go directly into the app. The user experience wouldn't be the most beautiful one, but it would work. So that would be one way of building Apple Pay. So we could say, okay, we move that blue line up, and this is now our MVP. That's the first version we're going to build. It's the bare minimum. And we could say, okay, as a next release, we want to have the import function. That's super crucial and very requested by a lot of customers. Plus, on top of that, we want also to add the functionality to double click. Good. That would be the next version. So we can just copy paste that blue line and create another version here, another version or another release. So we would have the MVP on top, the second release and the third release. And with that, you would have already planned the feature. For sure, you need to align this now with your stakeholders and pitch it to them, and we come to that. But what you could also do is you could just copy paste that one here, and we can say, okay, let's create an alternative version for our stakeholders or for our VP product or whomever, and show them, okay, the one that we have just built is the bare minimum. But due to the fact that we have higher standards, we want to directly start with all the features except the scanning part. We could also copy paste again and say, all right, the very first version is simply everything. We build all features on one. So the cool thing is now you can go to your stakeholders and show these different versions to them. And that shows also how much you think about the product.